the words of eternal life. Alleluia, alleluia. The Holy Gospel according to St. Matthew, the 15th chapter. Glory to you, O Lord. So the reading looks pretty long, but I'll do the little cheating. I'm going to start with the reading from the 21, verse 21, which is the assigned part. The parenthesis is for the optional reading. So I'll start with the assigned reading where Jesus and disciples are on the other side of the Galilee and where he meets a Canaanite woman. A reading from Matthew. Jesus left the place and went away to the districts of Tyre and Sidon. Just then, a Canaanite woman from the region came out and started shouting, "Have mercy on me, Lord, Son of David. My daughter is tormented by a demon." But he did not answer her at all. And his disciples came and urged him, saying, "Send her away, for she keeps shouting after us." Jesus answered to the woman, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." But she came in and knelt before him, saying, "Lord, help me." Jesus answered, "It is not fair to take the children's food and throw it to the dogs." She said, "Yes, Lord, yet even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their master's table." Then Jesus answered her, "Woman, great is your faith. Let it be done for you as you wish." And her daughter was healed from that moment. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, O Christ. You all may be seated. And the printer was working also. "I am coming." Printer was working to print my note. So now you can, I hope this is little readable than my handwriting, which was a little challenge last week. So the reading, like today's reading, as I can hearing it, to me, like the one word really stands out strong. What's the mercy? You know, this like God's mercy for all. God's mercies for everyone. God's mercy expands. I mean, that's really come to me. And the other thing caught my attention was this lady. You know, this Canaanite woman. A bold mother who never backs down. You know, in the scripture, there are some of those like bold or maybe the wild women in there when we read it. And some with names, some we don't know the name, but we know the story. We hear and remember their story. So in this story, what we read, this lady came to Jesus and asking him to heal her daughter, who is tormented by the demon or unclean spirit. Probably the modern way we probably consider some kind of mental illness she is suffering with. But as we heard, Jesus was very rude. Or actually, I don't know how they say it. Different way you can translate and interpret it. But he declined the offer. But the mother never backs down, you know. You all know mother never backs down. Mother is always a mother and stands there for the kid. Or maybe some other family member too. And this mother said, You can call me a dog. It's an insulting term in that time. But this dog is a little dog. Don't confuse with the one on the street. This is really legally in Greek. It's like small dog, considered pet. More of the pet dog. So it is a little nicer, but still not a good way to call somebody a dog. Jesus saw the dog, and the woman stood up and said, yes, you can call me a dog, but you know, if the dogs under the table get some crumbs. She is one of the few ladies, the few people in the Gospel of Matthew. Jesus prays of great faith. There's only two. She's one of them. Not many are called. And as we know, the daughter was healed. Quite a good story. I mean, some say it's a troubling story, my husband said. It's not problematic with like how you understand Jesus so good to the woman. And that is a part of it, but I'm not going that direction today because I'm going to the direction of the dogs. Because this is something came closer to me when I have a chance to eat the dine with dogs at the table. How many of you have dogs in your house? Quite a few have the house in their own. Yeah, here we go. How many of you have dined with the dog when you're eating your breakfast or the supper? Or I know some of you ate with the dog. Oh, yeah, you're counting that one. That's my sermon story. You're not admitting it. But you know, when I became a minister and be invited for the dinners for the people, you know, the members' house, I never know who are at the table when I get there. So there are times. So I go in and then yeah, please sit here and there. And my husband, I go in the house and then here we're sitting at the table and the plate out there, and you see the dogs are running around in the place out there, and Coleman has the place to eat outside, so that his dogs are always there when we eat outside, waiting for somebody to give her, I call natural treat, that's something from the plate, that she's waiting there. And also, it was a recent experience when Neil and Sharon invited my husband and I to be at the dinner on the Fish Friday. So that we're sitting on the table. This is inside. Outside on Friday evening. That was tremendously hot. It was like unbearably hot. Then steamed. It was sauna. So it was inside. And here comes their dog named Ali. She's pretty, if you know, many of you have met Ali before. She's pretty tall dog out there. So she was, I guess, comfortable and we're walking around the house while, you know, the guests are here, you know, the Becky and Frank and my husband are there and the Susan there too, and walking around. And when we are ready to eat the dinner, she was at the table next to me and Sharon, and looking with his eyes said, would you give me a treat too? And I'm looking at that one, goes like, ooh, it's hard to resist when the dog gives that look. Maybe it's just me, I don't know, maybe you guys have dogs, may have no issues with like telling, no, you wait. But I just can't do it. And I just look at the owner and said, can I get something? But you know, when it comes there, it's really hard. And by the way, it's not just like, it's so, you know, they give those look and they give me the food or the pity look or the cute look. It's not just me, but there is, according to the study I heard once, that the scientists seriously study about this dog puppy, I think. And there was a study I heard in the news years and years ago about this dog eyelid has been evolved since the creation. There is evolution in dog's eyelid. so that they look cuter to people to say no when they are under the table, asking for just share a little something what you are having. So the Canaanite woman in the story, this mother says to Jesus, "Yes, sir, but the dog under the table also gets the crumbs." This story is a reminder of all of us that God, in God's table, all are welcome. Some get more than the others, maybe, but all will get something. Okay. Author knows my conclusion, so he's good to go. So if that statement of the God's mercy is so wide and big, for us, for the contemporary Christian, it's like, so what? You know, that's always we hear. God is so gracious, merciful. Everyone is in this big God's hug. But for the first century early Christians, it's a big deal. There is a lot of questions regarding who's in God's salvation. That's a really hard thing because the covenant was given to Abraham and Noah and the descendants of Abraham and Noah. And here, there are people who are not really directly related to the Abraham and Noah, the non-Jewish people who come to believe that Christ is the Messiah, that Jesus is the Messiah. So this story, and one thing I think to always the question be asked, or even to us, who belongs to God's salvation? Who will receive God's mercy? Or how God's mercy can extend? To imagine the extension of God's mercy beyond, we think, this world, or beyond the boundaries we create, beyond the people we know or don't know. The women tell Jesus, if the dog under the table gets crumbs. I wonder this story is an invitation for us to imagine how God's mercy can extend. How God's mercy can extend in our lives, through our lives, as an individual, and also as a parish, where we see this God's mercy is extended wider and further. I'll give you some examples. Maybe it's something like the hug basket we put together. I was really amazed, as I said, like when I look at how it came together, and it really, the basket will showing about this, like, this is how God's hugging you. And the name of hug basket came from Neil. Neil suggested to do. And of course, it's not his original. He heard it somewhere else. And brought us to try. But it is a thing. How does God's hug extend through this? Or some of you were at the boiled peanut and ice cream last Sunday. If you weren't there, you missed it. It was good. The peanut was excellent. And the ice cream, oh my. homemade ice cream that tastes different, and all other sweets that did not need any supper. It was a good time, but those who are there, you know that there's lots of people in that social hall. Cassie said it was like around, she counted like around 39 people showed up. And 39, isn't it more than our parish members? We don't have that many at this point. We may, but at this point, we don't have that many. It was like, what is that? And when we looked around, we have the people who worship in other congregations came and they shared the space together. Kathy said, at least she could say 7 different congregations are represented. That's a lot. And you know, it was a good time. It really was. You know, and then I wonder, that's when we see like that, it's just how the God's mercy is extended in that regard. Maybe the God's mercy can extend when we offer hospitalities at the funeral, to the grieving family, through the prayers, through the meals, anything we do, that's an extension of the God's mercy. Or maybe God's mercy's extension may look like to give a little treat to the dog under the table when you are eating with them. They too can take a little share of what we enjoy, but don't give too much. They will come after you every single time. They are not that dumb. And they can get fat easy if you give too much. Dog under the table also gets crumbs. Because God's mercy has no boundary. Because God's mercy and love is wider and bigger than Bear House or the Godzilla House or any kind of the big hugs that we may receive. And you know, God's mercy extends all around the corners, not this place, but to